Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to CollectioNeo. It's me, Alex. Yes, and I'm back with another review for you. And we're back again with First Figures. This is Simon Belmont from Castlevania. Now this is a piece that I've wanted to pick up for a while. This isn't a pre-order. This guy's been out for a year or two, probably. It's just one of those pieces that slipped me by. I've always been a big Castlevania fan. Started really with me, not on the NES. Didn't really do the NES over here. The NES wasn't big in the UK compared to the US. But with Super Castlevania 4 on the Super Famicom and Rondo of Blood on the PC Engine, those were what, especially Rondo, really got me into Castlevania. And then of course the mighty Symphony of the Night, one of those games that I've completed at least 10 times and, can always go back to every year. And it's one of those top 5 games ever for me. So that is really, that's Castlevania for me. As I'm sure it is for a lot of people, Symphony of the Night was a real, some people would say that's when Castlevania got good. I'm not one of those people, but I think it got to the best it can be, or could be. And then obviously following that through with the Game Boy Advance games, Circle of the Moon and Harmony of Dissonance and of course Aria of Sorrow. And then the DS games, which I pretty much skipped over. I really did. I remember playing the first one. I can't even remember the names of them. But, they just pumped them out like there was no tomorrow. And then obviously a bit of a break leading up to Lords of Shadow. Now First Figures have done a Lords of Shadow statue, which I reviewed way back when. I think when it very first came out, maybe. It's on the channel, you can find it, or I'll put a link at the end of this video to it. But it was 1/6, it was a fantastic statue, really well done, as all First Figures statues seem to be. But it's just 1/6, and you know me, I wanted 1/4, and then I remember this being announced to 1/4, I was like, oh great, they're doing Castlevania on 1/4 now. I'll pick that up, and just a mere couple of years later, here he is. So this is just the regular. Like I say, the exclusive does come with a couple of extra bits. What have I got written down? I've got notes. Yes, I'm being very professional today. Right, the edition size on this is 400. I think I've got number 17 or 18 or something stupid like that. I can't remember. Sorry, no. I've got that batter front. His original price is $400. And his edition size is $750. And then the EX version was $440 with an ES of $299. Anything else in there? No, not really. So yes, when Alex brings this up, that's Alex of First Figures. Just going back to First Figures, if you, as usual, I always say this on every First Figures group video even. Go and join the First Figures group on Facebook. If you're into First Figures, if you want to know what First Figures are doing, you should be already be on that group. That is the place to be regarding First Figures. There's nothing else matters. And Alex, the owner of First Figures, always goes on about this statue as, oh, it's such a step forward. It was going to be, this should have been the one that pushed us on and showed what people can do, and we produced all this like Nintendo-y stuff and Sega, more cartoony and more simple designs, and this was pushing forward to be a more serious and show that we could do something that looked amazing and realistic. And I was always like, alright Alex, it can't be that nice. He's bloody right, He's very, very right. It's such a nice piece. I mean, we'll get into the details on that later on, and you can see that whip dangling, but there's a post on the First Figures group about First Figures can't do faces. They obviously haven't seen this statue, but we'll get into the details in a minute. But off the bat, as you know, I've owned several First Figures pieces and own several First Figures pieces, and stuff like Artorias and King are super high tier. They are, King was my favourite statue I received in 2017. And Artorias is, I've got to say, this might be the best First Figures have done up to yet. I'm honestly super surprised at how fucking good this piece is. It's amazing. I do think, that there's a lot of factors added to that. First Figures, it was the first piece of them doing something a little different. Despite it being a cherished franchise and, a well-loved NES game, the style's very different. It's a really realistic take on Simon, which does come from some of the artwork and especially on some of the later games and the revisits and that they did on the PS1 and things like that, the remakes. But this guy didn't sell well, as I just said, from the ES. $299 on the exclusive. Really doesn't cut it. But then again, it was back in the day when they were doing 2-week order windows, which is scrapped now. Thank God. Thank God for that. And the whole process and the way First Figures work has all moved along. I think this sort of piece now would easily do double that. I think. I really do. But everything Alex said about it is true. It was a real big step for First Figures, I think. And I know he said he was really proud of it and, he was the one that really gutted him when it didn't sell, and I can totally understand and see why. It is 1/4 scale, stands about 20 inches high. Now the exclusive version comes with a swap out hand, so this hand comes out and you get the hand holding the cross, one of the famous sub-weapons on Castlevania, and then the back hand, you pull that hand out, get rid of the whip, or we'll go into the whip in a minute, and you get the chain whip, or the Morning Star. Now originally, when that first went up for order, the chain version was just a real chain. So you had the handle coming up to here, and then the chain would just drape down with the ball on the end. And then, I think, in production, they changed it. So instead of just hanging it down, he actually did a static chain, but it was all like zigzagging with the ball on the end, so it looked like there's a bit of motion there. Very nicely done. I just couldn't put down the extra 150 quid because there was no way I wasn't going to use this whip, and I didn't want to pay £150, which would have been essentially for an exclusive cross. So that's why I didn't get the exclusive. Like I say, 200 quid, 1/4 scale statue, it's a no-brainer, especially when it looks this good. So let's just have a look at this hand. I'll show you what I mean when I'm talking details. It's really, really nicely done. The paint's fantastic. It's really high level. And this was the thing that Alex wanted to prove, I think, that they could do this sort of statue. And it shows. Now, should we do the whip or shall I get close-ups? Let's do the whip, then I'll get some close-ups. So the whip was originally like a pleathery thing. It didn't look great, so they changed it for this, which is really thick. But, and as you can see there's the hand, and then it comes out the top. And now here, all the whip is actually posable. So if you have seen the statue, you'll have seen that people have it like wrapped round Simon, they have it flailing backwards. You can literally do whatever you want with this. It is huge, by the way. It's probably, what, half, it must be 3 foot. 3 foot or more. It's huge. I don't think I'll even be able to show you it all on camera. There it is looped. And there's the top of the loop. It's ridiculously big. But I imagine you could cut it down if you wanted. I mean, look at this, we're still going. It's massive. So yeah, you can pose it any way you want. Magnet's pretty tight on the whip hand, which it needs to be. I'm going to leave the whip off for a second, just so we can get in some details. Let's start at the base. We'll move on from there. Just before I do that, what was in the box? I got my registration card, so you register the statue. Any future statues in the line, you get the same number. But like I say, I don't think it'd apply now because I've got a regular, so if they did another one and I wanted exclusive, I don't think I'd get the number, but I'll still register it anyway. And an old school First Figures thing and how to register. There is nothing about the club, nothing about any of the social media, so that's why you know, figures were quite low, I think, on the sales, because none of that was there yet. I think that's one of First Figures' greatest strengths, the social side of it. Start at the base. So the base, they've done like this rock formation with a tree. Lovely colours on the base, actually. It doesn't look too plasticky, which I do worry about sometimes. With rocks, they either go for a wet look, or they just go for something that just looks a little... I don't know, it just doesn't look up to scratch for me. But this is really nicely done. Lots of colours. Browns, blacks, greys, and then the tree stump. I think this is slightly too clean. I don't know what's chopped it down exactly, but it was very cleanly done. I think that should have just been a little bit more worn, or maybe some burning on it. Maybe if it's been struck by lightning, I don't know. But I just think that's a bit too clean. It doesn't distract too much, especially because you can't see it from the front. But there is some fantastic weathering on the tree. Lots of nice paints. And as you can see, Simon's boots, lots of straps. Nice paints. These bits do come out. Well, they did. There you go. So there's them two bits which are separate. Now what I will say is, on these, the red straps, the brown front, would have been nice if they matched. It doesn't distract too much because it blends in with the overall look of the boot, but I'm guessing that's supposed to be the same strapping, so I guess it should have been red, but it's such a minor thing. And then on the other boot, we have the same, that one plugs in, it's just hanging down. Then we'll move up the body a bit. I am adjusting my tripod at the same time. Oh, a bit more. There we go. And now we've got the middle. So this dagger is removable. And the sword on the other side is removable. Let's have him off. Great detail again on the sword. I love all these bits of red like jewellery. It really pops. There's one on Simon's forehead as well, which looks really nice. I'm now going to attempt to put that back from back here. That feel okay? Yeah. They're all on pegs. I think nowadays if they did them, they'd probably do them on magnets, to be honest. And then, as you can see, lots of fine details in the body. It's all sculpt, as with most First Figures pieces. And then let's get on to that face. Musculature. Actually, let's do the arms first. Musculature in the arms is fantastic. Like I say, the hand. Overall skin tone is fantastic. The leather look on the top. The hair. The bandana on the back here. That does pull out. That one matches up a lot better than the ones on the boots. It really does. Now we're going to pull the whole thing forward slightly so I can get you some face. And there it is, a face only a mother will love. But no, it's actually really well painted, great expression. I mean, like I say, people saying First Figures can't do faces. They obviously haven't owned this piece. It's really, really well done. And there you go, guys. Simon Belmont. 1/4 scale. First for Figures. £200. you cannot go wrong. So I'm going to put the pieces back on. And I'm going to put the whip back on just so we can kind of... Let me just show you how big this whip is. How much you've got to play with. It's ridiculous. So obviously you'd curl that down, curl it round his body. I'm probably going to go with it a bit back because obviously he's bringing the whip back. So I want to like curl it and coil it going backwards to a tip. So that's going to be played with. I didn't want to do it for the video because obviously I wanted to take it off and show it you. But I'm going to do some pictures. So I will have a mess, get it how I want it before I do the pictures. Overall, like I say, I just think it's a fantastic statue that's gone completely under the radar. We talk about some statues that have gone under the radar. This is definitely one of them. It's a superbly realised and superbly executed. The whip is just brilliant. It feels and looks like it's going to do damage. Like I say, I think if you can get the X version, why not? But I think if you can save the money and pick this guy up for around the price I've paid, about 200, 225 delivered, you're going to be so happy with him, honestly. Like I say, one of First Figure's best. Up there with Artorias and King for me, for sure. You know, with Jin and Sif nipping at their heels. So what else have we got going? Other lines. Now, gushing over Symphony Night, I was dying for collectibles from Symphony Night, and wouldn't you know, First Figures answer my prayers. Yes, they did an Alucard 1/4 scale statue. He went up for pre-order earlier this year, I think. He sold extremely well. I think both variants sold over 1,000. And they will be doing so the first variant was the exclusive. So the regular's just got the Alucard sword. The exclusive had oh my god, it had the shield, the Alucard shield, which looked a bit odd because you couldn't put it in the left hand, it had to go in the right hand, so he's just standing there with the shield. So that wasn't brilliant, but he does have the chrysogram, which is like the best sword in Symphony of the Night, if you don't know. And they did like a really, took what the small little 2D symbol was and turned it into their own thing, and it looks fantastic. I don't know if I'll pick up the exclusive on that. I might pick up the reg, just because I'd probably display him with the Alucard sword. But we'll see how it goes. I don't want, pieces left in the box, and the shield. I might display the chrysogram, but I think Alucard's shield sword looks the best on him. So yes, that's to come. I mean, it looks brilliant. They've just been putting up production videos of Alucard, and he just looks stunning. And then Gabriel from Lord of Shadow has been announced. I think that's going to be 1/6 to follow on from Dracula, which really, really pisses me off. I'd love that for being 1/4. I love Lord of Shadows 1 and 2, and to get an original Gabriel from the first game would be fantastic. But if he's not in 1/4, I can't play, I'm afraid. And then Richter. Now, Richter is, for me, more important than Simon, because again, Symphony Night and Rondo, those are my games, and those are more, obviously feature Richter more. So yeah, if Richter's kind of like this, 1/4 scale, then that's it. F for F again, all my money, even more of my money, I should say. So that's it, guys, really. First figure orders coming up. I've got Ornstein, Soler, Taki, Guts, and Law to come from First Figures. Solid Snake and Alucard are purchases to be made, but I haven't put on payment plan, so they'll be picked up as they come out. Yeah, hopefully Law will make it. Otherwise, the money I've paid on Law will be transferring over to an Alucard, I assume. I'm guessing that's how it'll probably have to go, but, hey ho. But yes, if you're on the fence about it, or if you want a really cool Castlevania collectible, and you're a fan of the original, and you're a fan of Simon Belmont in particular, there is nothing, and I mean nothing on the market that will touch this. It's not only a stunning Castlevania piece, it's just a stunning piece. And like I say, maybe First Figure's best statue yet. And they just keep getting better and better. So who knows? So there you go, guys. Simon Belmont, Castlevania, 1/4 scale from First Figures. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon. Bye!